Mr. Mayor, Terry Pickett, Washington Times. Now, there's a lot of talk here that the voucher program was a failure, yet Dr. Patrick Wolf, who was commissioned by the Congress itself to essentially do an independent study of the voucher program, said that in 2009 that the voucher program saw a lot of significant increases in reading as well as math. And according to polling, about 70% of DC residents said that they do approve of the voucher program. How is it that then that this is an actual failure?
Well, frankly, some of the studies that were cited up here, in fact, underscore that very point. At the best, you can say there are mixed results about this. And there are a lot of citizens in the District of Columbia who believe we ought to be investing our dollars in a robust public education system. And we have some of the most significant choice, as I said, in the city, in terms of 123 traditional public schools, 52 charter schools that are on 93 campuses in the District of Columbia. But the more fundamental issue to me is the citizens of the District of Columbia ought to have the authority and the right to choose what it is we want to do and not have a program imposed upon us by the national legislative body.
Just one follow-up, though. The thing is, though, is that even though in the conventional public school system, though, the voucher program showed that around 90% of the students ended up graduating, as opposed to, say, 60% of the conventional public schools.
Well, do you know that study had a random sample of kids from the D.C. public schools? I doubt that very seriously. We can argue methodology all day long, and maybe we ought to have that discussion, but I think we ought to look at the methodology that was used before we start citing those kinds of differences.
The other thing we should note about the DC voucher program is that it actually obviously can be very selective. The schools that the kids go to are selective in terms of who they admit. Obviously, public schools are for everybody. The other thing that happens with the voucher program that I think people don't pay a whole lot of attention to is that one of the things that happens is that these kids, in some respects, are in schools that have no occupancy permits. They don't have teachers with even bachelor's degrees. Huge issues in terms of the implementation. In fact, some of the folks that got vouchers to go to private school were already in private school. So it was literally taxpayer dollars supplanting private dollars. That's unprecedented.
Mayor Gray?
Mr. Mayor? Forget there was a vote against vouchers in D.C. We had it on the ballot. It got voted down.
So then why is it, though, that the actual congressionally mandated studies, though, are showing otherwise?
Because the Department of Ed understood, because the Department of Education understood.
And 70% of residents.
No, they don't.
They want a voucher program or not.
It's a lie.
Actually, I'd like to see a referendum on whether people in the District of Columbia believe we ought to make these decisions for
No, they
ourselves.
voted no.
And if Congress agrees to honor that principle, then I'd be happy to ask the folks. But the
You're not a
principle
reporter.
involved here, Mark,
You're not a reporter.
is
I am a
that
reporter.
No,
Thank you
you're
very
not.
much. Why?
You're obviously an opinion person. That's not reporting. So if you report accurately, you report all the issues. You're very biased.
Abortions for low-income women.
What?
Youth exchange programs.
You're clearly biased.
You
That's
are
not
biased.
reporting.
All of those things are decided
You're proud of it.
by
You're obviously
elsewhere by
sure that
those
you're
states
right.
and
Don't
those
pretend that you're not
jurisdictions
biased.
And your name?
with the same rights that
Who are
should be
you?
afforded to
And your
the
name?
people of the city.
What's your name?
Look it up.
Other questions?
Well, I have to.
You are obviously hostile and filled with contempt. I'd have no interest in cooperating with you. You know that you're dishonest because you're willing to have a point of view that's filled with bias and prior conclusions. This is not honest, and the people of D.C. have voted against vouchers. That either matters to you and is dispositive because we have a representative democracy, or you are utterly driven by ideology, which is clearly the case.
I'll be participating
And your name?
in,
Drop dead.
in Emancipation Day activities.
And your name?
And by the way, isn't that
I
ironic?
write my
We
opinions
celebrate Emancipation
and sign
Day
my
in the
name.
District of Columbia tomorrow, which
You are
we have to
guaranteed
do
to
our
distort what I say and take things out
in
of
order
context
to
to
be able
build
to
your own
celebrate
case.
that.
I'm not going to
Supposedly
tell you my name
3,100
because
people
of my conviction that you are biased and not reporting honestly.
And your name?
Supposedly
What's your name,
3,100
sir?
people were emancipated
You agree
on
that I've
April
already
16,
told you that I'm not going to tell you.
But in
So
fact, they
you're
probably
obviously
have
proving
members of
further
their
your
family
hostility
that
and
answered
bias
their,
by repeatedly asking the same
successors,
question, which you already have the
today
view that I'm
in
not going to
the
answer.
District
You
of
know
Columbia.
I'm not going to answer it, so you have no possible reason to
This
keep
is a-
asking,
this is a
other than
key issue,
pure
Mark.
bias, which you demonstrate with every breath you take.
Well, I'm not getting hostile. I'm just asking what your name is.
Your whole tone and content of what you say is clearly driven by bias. Go back and look at what you said to him, the way you ask questions, the facts that you pretend to cite, which are clearly based upon, for example, biased polling, because the voters of the district have already voted against vouchers.
Oh, don't get angry now.
You're being trampled.
We're being trampled by the Congress. It would be bizarre not to be angry about it. I wish to be dismissed if my righteous anger is going to be dismissed, but then I would like all the right-wing fanatics that are also constantly displaying righteous anger
Are you saying that Kwame Brown...
to stop being hypocritical.
Are you saying Kwame Brown is a right-winger?
Kwame Brown is pandering to the right wing on this issue.
Well, he's not a right-winger, though.
I just said he was pandering to the right wing. If you don't understand English, then why are you a reporter?
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Some information from the coalition.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.